I wanted to speak about the exploitation of the black female. I mean, it's a big title, or let's just call it exploitation. And then under it, we could talk about black females in the music industry.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like whether these black female artists realize it or not, I feel like there is exploitation happening. This isn't coming from, I don't know, man. I got sisters, maybe. I don't know if I'm being too protective of the black female, but when I think about like some of the biggest female artists that DJs are playing, that are popping in the club, that are on your TV screen, that are on the billboard, I'm thinking Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B. I'm thinking Shenseea. I'm thinking Nicki Minaj. I'm thinking Miss Banks. I'm thinking Steph London. And when I think about their contemporaries, is that the right word? Or their counterparts, which are not of black skin, black color, I don't know if there are like the same type of artists. Like when I think of like Olivia Rodrigo or like Taylor Swift or Dua Lipa, I don't think of any kind of rawness in their lyricism or their image. But you just have to listen to like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion on Lick, and you're hearing lines that you will never hear come out of Taylor Swift or Olivia Rodrigo or Billie Eilish is his mouth. So I'm wondering, is it, and I know all of these artists that I've mentioned, the black females, they want to do what they're doing. I don't feel like they're being forced, but is there some Jedi mind tricks going here? Do they feel like they have to do this? I know it's been going on, but if we want to reach for the other side, we're reaching because we can't find the contemporaries. Is that the right word? What do you think, Terry? I'm going to you first.
We've had this conversation off air before. I think this has been happening. I remember growing up, my sister was the biggest Little Kim fan, to the point she had a tattooed on her leg. She's actually got rid of it now. I remember, and I grew up listening to a lot of Whitney Houston, and to me at the time, obviously Whitney Houston was before Little Kim and that, but the people that I looked up to and I was still always into was always positive. I was into my Desirees. I was into people, anyone that was talking something positive. My sister was into anyone that was talking any nonsense that was, not say nonsense, but the dirty, outrageous stuff. But then it got to a point when she got older and she started to realise, like, finding a man, being taken seriously. It was a thing of where it's great that it's cool to be that person, but eventually when you grow up, you kind of think, oh, this is maybe not who I should be if I really want to be taken seriously. So it gets to a point now though, when I see all these new artists coming out, the history repeats itself. So you've seen it happen before. So I think a lot of these girls now, they choose to do it because they want to do it, and because how they think it's cooler.
But why is it the black females that are doing it and not maybe the white female artists that are doing it?
Because they haven't had anyone else that they can really maybe compare them to. Madonna's probably the only one. She's not even as outrageous as those. Madonna's probably the most outrageous, maybe white
female rapper in the whole history.
But not even rapper, but just as an artist that's out there naked doing crazy stuff. Then Gaga came after that, and then and so. It's not the same, but for us, it is Little Kim. It is Foxy Brown.
Why though?
It's the culture. Look at Jamaican culture. Look at the dancehall culture. Look at the people that I don't know. It's just a culture thing that we've been used to. It's us. We direct it. When we had Whitney Houston, everybody wanted to be Whitney Houston. When we had Desiree at one point, everyone wanted to be like Desiree. But when we have someone that is doing well out there, everyone wants to be that person. So it's down to that individual. So again, with music, it's business. So as long as they're making money, that's what they're going with. If they're not making their money, they're not going to go with that. So it's down to us to support certain things and stop waiting for other people to give us, permission to do something different. Because if we like something, then we have to say that we like it. So,
whether it's a choice or not, though, whether it's the artist's choice or not, are these artists getting exploited, though? That's what I'm really wondering.
No, I don't
think
so.
What do we think, Volatile?
We talk about the word exploitation, right, in the music industry, full stop. Artists, full stop, have been exploited in the music industry forever. Yeah. Right? So I mean, we can look at Prince, and we can look at, if we go back to black artists and hip hop and soul and R&B, TLC are a really good example of a group that were literally at the top of their game, the hot thing, selling records and selling out stadiums, but not making a penny out of it because they signed some rogue deal. I can't remember the details, but some awful deal with the label, right? So you go back to stuff like that, and you see that the exploitation has always been there in the music industry, full stop. I think this hypersexualization in the industry, for black female artists, that's something slightly different than just being exploited by the label. But is it necessary for the black female artist to hypersexualize, to gain any kind of not just success but big commercial success. And why? That's the question. Why are they doing it? Because everybody's doing it. And then your comparison with white artists there is something that that really needs to be spoken about.
I think
put this P right in your face, swipe it like a credit card. Yeah. You know the lyric, innit?
Yeah, but I think they're doing it as well for them to say that they're in control. We can do what the hell we want, because that's what the black female has always kind of been in, having to wait for other people to give them permission to be on stage. So now it's like, listen, motherfuckers, we can do what the fuck we want. We can say what we want, and that's why it's not this exploitation. It's them saying, it's like hip hop right now. Listen, nigga, motherfucker, they're owning their shit. So, but to the point, it's so outrageous that they can do whatever they want, and they're getting their own audience. And people, the outside world, they're just always they're looking to be shocked. They're looking to be amazed. They're looking to be wowed, innit? And this is what those girls are doing. The more outrageous they are, the more people are going to be like, oh, what the hell did you just say? That's what it is. I don't think it's exploitation. It's more about trying to hit a nerve with people.
So why do you feel like your white female counterparts don't also want to shock the world and get real ratchet and raunchy with it than Summer?
I think just like what Terri said, I just feel like they don't have to. Like it's like a different league. Like they can just, like, for example, Billie Eilish, like especially with like the hypersexualization thing, like she's super tomboy, like literally baggy clothes, and like I feel like she did it intentionally as well, so she wasn't put in like that category. But I don't really get why it's different for like black females and white females. But the whole hypersexualizing, like I do feel like it's more directed towards black females in the industry. Could there be is there a black female artist coming through in that space? You know, that tomboy Billie Eilish. Is there one, and could there be one?
Yeah. There could be anything we want it to be, but the thing is, especially with black people, and because I'm black, obviously, that's being, we find things boring quickly. Oh, you know, if it's food, they never season the fish properly, the chicken dry, so we need that extra spice on there. So a white girl could come out and have bland something, and it would still sell because she's got an audience. Black people, we're so hard to please. So if we're not coming out with something that's gonna make us go, what the shit that's said, Lord God, we're gonna listen to that. That's what's happening. And I think it's us.
So you're saying black people like controversy?
Of course we do.
But it's not that the maddest thing is that we could actually argue and maybe research and think that, right, is Shenseea, Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, is their biggest audience the people that look like them, or is it not? You know what I'm saying? So that's where maybe the exploitation comes in.
No, but I think that, because remember how many girls are trying to be the next Megan Thee Stallion, trying to be the next Nicki Minaj. That's why everyone's dressing up like them and acting like them.
Are black artists, female artists, sort of pitted against each other to the point where you think there's only room for one of us? Because if we look back at Tupac and Biggie, and if you look at Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown days, it was almost like it's me or you that's going to succeed, and there was always a question: are you Lil' Kim or are you Foxy? But you couldn't be both, right? You couldn't be a fan of both.
That's very true.
East Coast, West Coast, all that stuff. Yeah. Is that a thing? I don't think that exists in the kind of the white spaces where you have to choose between. And I don't know, maybe that's something.
Actually, because when Madonna came out, though, because remember Madonna, when Britney, there was always Britney and Lady Gaga. Remember how there was a big thing. She didn't really like them coming out at first, and then she always got something against them, because remember, when it comes to being that powerful and just being the one that's so outrageous, you feel like, no, I can only be the only one that can do that. And I think it's the same in black females, I think. But I think remember when Lil' Kim and the whole Nicki Minaj thing was happening. Yeah. Remember, one day I was on the internet and I went down this rabbit hole because I was thinking, how did this all start? And it turns out that Lil' Kim, that Nicki Minaj was the one that started it, because she was throwing like little pebbles, and then I think Lil' Kim was trying to embrace her, but she was basically trying to take over her spot, and she ended up, she practically did like the same photo shoots and everything, but then somehow it ended up being, oh, Lil' Kim's jealous of me, and it's like, no, she was never jealous of you. She did it before you. How could she be jealous of you? She started this. Do you know what I mean? So this is when you pay attention to it. A lot of it's there for you to see. Just that people only want to. And the more successful you are, the more people just think, oh, that person's just hating. So I think there's always been room for everyone if you want it to be.
Yeah. I just want to say on record, I love all of these artists that I just mentioned as well. Like Doja Cat, Megan Thee Stallion, Shenseea, like Nicki Minaj. I like all of them, Cardi B. But I just want to know, is there a white female artist that is maybe singing that says, I love it when you finger me? Like the opening line on Shensea's Foreplay. I'm just wondering why though? Like,
But what's wrong with saying that, though? She likes me.
no, but
Sorry.
whether we want to debate whether it's okay or not, I'm just wondering why, like, there aren't the white female
What happened
counterparts. And I'm asking this not to, like, sort of be like on some dig these artists out. Like, I am genuinely wondering why the black female artists are overly sexualized, and I'm wondering if they are being exploited. I am asking this question genuinely because I don't know the answer.
I think if there could be a white artist that could do that, there would be, but there hasn't been one that even stands close to that. So that's why they have. And also, remember, what's the one that was from Australia? The blonde, what's her name?
Iggy Azalea.
She tried, and remember after a while, it's like she came and she went.
But look. But again, we've mentioned a few names here, and it's a reach though. You've mentioned Iggy Azalea. Yeah. Madonna, who is her career started in the 80s. Lady Gaga, who was in her pomp like over a decade ago, and like who else? Like we're really trying to reach to find these artists. It's a handful of these artists that we could even mention against.
Yeah.
Whereas
and then
contemporary,
conversely, there's I mean, Cardi B's borderline porn.
Yeah,
like,
they all are.
Some of the lyrics are just like,
it's mad. They all are.
bruv, like.
And they were strippers before. Remember, half of them, they were strippers before. So this is what they've been doing. That.
And there's a lot of names I'm not even mentioning. If you want to even go further, like City Girls, Sweetie.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There you go.
Boy, and we like it. But is it the fact that we like it that they make more? But I'm just saying. Can white female artists not do it then? Like, if they do it, would it be like, but it's not Megan or it's not Cardi? Or is it just they choose not to, or they don't have to?
Well, they don't have to, but I also
like,
think
does Cardi B, Megan and Shenseea, do they feel like they need to do that? Otherwise, they won't be able to be as popular.
But I also think that they haven't had the same struggle. Cause I think black females, for them to even sometimes be able to, being a white woman, but maybe I think going through. I mean, I can't speak for white women because I'm not white. So this is the thing. I can only speak for what I see for black females. Remember, as I said, Cardi B. When you think about how she started out in hip hop, what's it called? Love and Hip Hop.
Reality TV show.
And she's a completely different person to who she is now. Once she realized, because remember she was really popular there, but once she realized her power, she went overboard with it, and she just knew. So she exploited herself. You know what I'm saying? She knew what she can do. With once she went in, she knew what she could do.
And this is an important thing I need to stress as well. Whether they are exploiting themselves or they are being exploited by the label, there's exploitation there. And why is there this exploitation?
Yeah. And also, it's a fantasy for a lot of people as well. It's taking people in a place where, oh my God, it's taking them somewhere different, and they know that everything when it comes to art, halftime is for us to make people feel different and make them feel something and take them somewhere else. Innit? When we listen to music, and even when you watch a movie, that's what it's about. It's not
double me, swallow me, drip down the side of me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
there you go. You see, there you go. It's a fantasy. Because remember, I grew up in Germany. The sex industry over there is legal to have brothels. It's legal to like sex. It's just so over here. You talk about sex like, oh my God, you can't talk about those things. It's just normal. So I think for me, I'm not really that shocked by it anymore. You decide what you want to do.
The shock factor.
Yeah, it's the shock factor.
And it shall continue. And maybe we might look back at this conversation in maybe a couple years' time, and there's some mad, ratchet, white female R&B artist or female rapper out here dunning it. Maybe not even just one, maybe a few. Because like we said, there was Iggy Azalea, and I feel like her light, it was light and it blew out quickly.
Because she kept making some really stupid comments about things like
that's a big part of it.
Like being a white slave owner and all that kind of stuff. I remember thinking that's
the stuff that cancelled her. Not
there you go.
Is she cancelled, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. After she said so. And also, she wasn't that great anyway. I don't think she was that good.
Exactly.
She's
it wasn't
rubbish.
like some high level of talent.
She wasn't that good.
Here's the thing. Maybe there's stuff we don't see. Maybe there's a studio somewhere similar to this, and there's a white artist somewhere, and she goes, right, I'm going to go in. You lot ready? And then she comes out with some stuff, and then the producer goes, oh, this might not be for you. Maybe tone it down. Like, you don't know. You don't know. Maybe they're trying to put it down, and they're like, listen, you're not going to exist in this space.
So does that hark more to the exploitation then? That they're only allowing.
No, because I don't think a lot of people remember, you have to put the work in for this as well. So when you think about Eminem, okay, obviously that's not a female, but look how he just managed to kind of come through. But right now he's probably not as relevant as he used to be. But when he first came out, supported by Dr. Dre.
I mean, the perspective or the relevance is it's a lot to say right there, because Eminem is outselling a lot of artists half his age.
Oh, is he now?
And also, let's not get it twisted. Eminem, we're moving on a little bit from deviating a little bit, but rock star status though. At the age in your late 40s, and you're still out here doing major shows and selling.
But I'm sorry, the
records,
audiences nowadays, they don't
music,
care about
streaming.
music as much as we used to back in the day. You could put out any nonsense and people would be like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, but then anybody could then.
Huh?
But there's other artists at his age that ain't selling.
No, but I think he already has a certain platform and base. He's
Yeah.
he's the blueprint, isn't it, for most of those artists that do what he did first, isn't it? So he's always going to be. It's like Whoopi Goldberg is always going to be relevant because she gave us Blowing Hill. She did Sister Act 2. She's the first black female that you see with dreads and doing. I'm saying there's certain people that are always going to be there no matter what. So I think Eminem's always going to be there.
Like I said, I asked this question because it was genuine. Like I didn't have the answers, and we're talking about exploitation of black female artists and black female rappers that are very raunchy, hypersexualized, and I just can't see their white female counterparts because I just don't know if I'm going to hear Olivia Rodrigo or Billie Eilish saying "gobble me, swallow me, drip down the side of me." Do you know what I'm saying? And if I did hear it, I just don't think I'm going to hear it
But you
anytime
won't
soon.
now because it's already happened now. So if they did do it, it's like them copying it. So why would you hear it now?
No, but then, no, they don't have to be copying because we're not saying that like.
But that's not Billie Eilish's lane
Exactly.
either, right?
Yeah.
So what if she start doing
In the same way, you might have an R&B artist or a rapper that doesn't do that.
Dua Lipa's a bit raunchy though, but she don't get that raw though. She doesn't.
Yeah, she's
She
trying
don't
it.
want she.
She's a bit like okay.
she's
When,
like
when we're
fun,
talking
like,
about,
she's fun,
yeah, she's
like-
fun. But when we're
she's fun,
talking about the
basically.
sexualization, she's sexualized,
She's-
but she's just not as sexualized.
Yeah.
She's a bit more
Like if
classy.
anything, she's a PG.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And Cardi B and Megan
cute.
and them, they're 18, triple X.
But remember, they're strippers. Literally, they were doing that shit from before.
Regardless
Yeah.
though, Shenseea weren't a stripper.
But she's a dancehall artist, and that's what isn't she having spice? That's what they're about, isn't it? But they're pum pum pum.
Saweetie weren't a stripper or a dancehall artist. Saweetie.
Yeah, but then she probably just got into her lane and then started thinking this is what works for me. This is
And,
what I'm
and
saying.
also, they're looking at everybody else that's doing well
There you go.
and going,
There
and
you
then
go.
I
the,
can do
the
that.
dancehall stuff is like deep in the culture,
Yep.
that style of dancing in particular.
Yep.
And they're just looking at it going, well, I want to succeed, so let me just walk down this
Yeah,
road. I don't
yeah.
know, is that right? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
I think
as I
so.
said, I can only go by what I see with them. I don't really know, but yeah.
Again, man, I just have to say, I wonder if I'm being too protective of black female artists. If I'm, just the fact that I wanted to talk about this today.
But were you
Am I
protective
being
over
too-
Little Kim and them people when they came out back then?
But obviously, like we're talking about perspective now. I feel like I'm
No, but
older
I'm
now.
just asking
No,
you.
I feel like I'm older now. Like
Yeah.
when Little Kim and Foxy was out here, they were just like older women doing mad stuff, and I was like, like the naughty, like younger guy that like, wanted to maybe look at porn and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
when you're younger, but then when you get a bit older, and maybe you've got like sisters your
Then you got
age, or
kids,
you've got
yeah.
younger people in your family, it's all perspective, innit? Like, not to say like it's on a dad vibe and all that kind of thing, but you're older now, and you're understanding what you're seeing. Like, there was a lot of things that we consumed when we was younger, and we just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
But then when you get a bit older, you understand it, and then that's when you start asking questions,
Yeah.
forming opinions, and then understanding what the hell's going on.
So it's going in cycles then, because the younger generation now are doing what you did before. You
Yeah,
didn't
of
see it
course they
before,
are.
and
Of course they are, and
you know-
they'll get to a stage now when they'll get to a stage when they probably
Yeah,
start
yeah.
questioning it
I'd
as
love-
well.
I'd love to hear it from the artists themselves. If you
Yeah.
ask that question, maybe not now when they're tied to the label that's selling their music, they're not going to tell you, yeah, man, I'm exploited. But in the same way, after it's all said and done, a lot of artists have come out after they've broken from that label and said, yeah, man, we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to wear that. And they let us happen particularly with groups and boy bands in particular. Boy bands have come out and said, we didn't want to do that. Why did we do that? Why did they make us sing that? Why did we do that cover?
Yeah, but it's all right them saying it after, but
Yeah.
after they've had the success.
That's how I
They've
feel.
sold all the
That's
music,
how I
innit?
feel. That's
Do you know
how I
what I'm
feel.
saying?
Like, shut up. Not hearing
Yeah,
them.
so it's like,
But I think back in the day, the way history was, yes, I don't think you had no choice. Nowadays, people, you can have your own platform. You don't even need a label. You can make your own. You can make your whole own scene happen. And the label only come on board nowadays because they know that they can make money with you. And you, if you're a right business person, knows that yes, this makes sense. So I don't think anyone these days is really exploited how they were back in the day.
all right, Terry, let me ask you this, man. Your experience, like a few decades in this music industry here in the UK, maybe seeing it from a different perspective,
Yeah.
because a lot of the artists that we mentioned before are international, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion,
Yeah.
and that, like, they're from over the other side, America, Shenseea, Jamaica, you know what I'm saying? They're not from the UK,
Yeah.
but, the decades you've served in the game, major label, you've been signed to, you've had a lot of experience being around a lot of, like, industry heads. Do
Yeah.
you feel like a lot of artists do get exploited? Like, you're not a rapper yourself, but do you see?
Do you know what? This day and age, I'm telling you, only because I know the difference of being in it from back in the day when you literally had no platform. You had to rely on everyone else giving you a chance to be heard, be it radio, be it articles, whatever else. Nowadays, you don't have that. Like when you think about Stormzy's, how Stormzy got into it. I mean, from what I saw, I know he started his movement first, and everyone jumps on board. If you don't have a strong movement and foundation first, you're not getting anywhere anyway. It doesn't matter because no label's signing you now. If just because you're good, do you know what I mean? No one's signing you just because you're a good singer and you look cute. They're signing you because you have a movement behind you. And if you have any kind of sense for you to get to that movement, you already kind of were kind of business savvy and knew what you was doing. So you can't exploit anyone these days unless they want to be exploited. I think personally. These days, this day and age, I don't think you can.
As a new artist, Summer, are you very wary of this? Like, is it something that's at the forefront of your mind? Like, I'm going to make sure that I'm not exploited. I mean, there's a lot of new artists that come in the game and say, I just want to get a big record deal.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I get to do what I want to do. I want to make sure I've got creative control and all that. But is it something at the forefront for you as a young black female artist that I don't want to be exploited?
I think in terms of like, you know, like owning your music or like owning your creative direction, it's something that I definitely want to have control over. So like that's definitely at the forefront of my mind. And I think like what Terri said, like now you can like build your own fan base. There's so many other access points other than like labels, for example. So I think it's less of a chance because you can have more like power over like yourself or the direction that you go in. So it is something that like if I was to like get involved in like with a major label or they were to approach me, I would bear in mind because obviously I want to be able to have like creative control and stuff. So yeah, it's something that I do think about.
Straight up.
Thank you.
You're making me happy right now.
Get me.
There you go.
ONSITE podcast, SK Vibemaker, Summer Banton's in the building, Terri Walker's here, DJ Volatile. You know what I'm saying? Some people just want to be called like, not maybe with the DJ. I'm not DJ SK Vibemaker. I'm just SK Vibemaker. Is it DJ Volatile that you like?
I am a DJ, so I'm cool with it. But yeah, Volatile's fine. Or Pav, my real name is fine as well. I'm not,
Real name out there.
I'm cool, man. I'm cool with everything.
Cool.
It's just me in it.
Say nothing.